Welcome back to The Explainer. We're always trying to turn complex research into clear, actionable insights, and today we've got a truly fascinating one. We are diving into a paper titled, Developing a Chatbot Augmented Computational Model to Assist Students in Selecting a Supervisor for Postgraduate Programs. It's written by a team out of Juiz University in Brazil, and they've basically built a brilliant new computational model that acts as an academic matchmaker, pairing up grad students with their absolute ideal research supervisors. Now, if you've ever applied for a master's or a doctorate, this next part is going to hit a little close to home. Have you ever spent hours, and I mean literally hours, just endlessly clicking through clunky university websites trying to find an academic mentor? You're trying to figure out what they research, if they even have time for you, and if your interests actually align. It is a massive, highly relatable headache. Honestly, manually searching for the right mentor can feel a lot like looking for a needle in a haystack of endless PDFs and outdated faculty pages. So here is our game plan for unpacking this AI solution today. First, we'll look at the supervisor search struggle. Second, we'll meet the AI matchmaker. Third, we're peeking under the hood. Fourth, the recommendation math. And finally, testing the AI model in the real world. Let's get right into it. Part 1. The supervisor's search struggle. Just how agonizing is this search? Well, historically, especially down in Brazil where this study takes place, finding a mentor meant digging through the Brazilian Lattes database. Think of it as this massive, incredibly dense national system where literally every researcher's CV lives. The old way meant manually sifting through hundreds of these text-heavy Lattes CVs to figure out who's publishing what and who is even taking on students. It's an immense manual effort. The new way? Well, it changes the game entirely by letting you instantly chat with an AI model that does all that heavy lifting for you. To put the sheer scale of this data overload into perspective, just look at the number 180,000. That is how many students are in the Common University Consortium down in southern Brazil, which was the specific case study for this research. We're talking 14 different institutions, over 1,500 courses, and thousands upon thousands of researchers. It is quite literally impossible for a single human being to manually evaluate every potential supervisor in a system that massive. Which brings us to part 2. Meet the AI matchmaker. The researchers built this super dynamic chatbot using a tool called Dialogflow. And the genius part? They integrated it straight into WhatsApp, an app students are already using all day, every day. The whole user journey is elegantly simple. After a quick greeting, the system just asks, hey, are you looking for a master's or a doctorate? You type in a quick blurb about your research interests, the chatbot passes that text to the system's brain, and boom, out pops a highly customized supervisor recommendation. No digging, no endless searching, just a chat. But how on earth does it actually know who to pick? Let's find out in part 3, Peeking Under the Hood. The secret sauce making this all possible is natural language processing, or NLP. In a nutshell, NLP is a branch of artificial intelligence that extracts knowledge and actual meaning from text or audio documents. Because the system has to read and interpret thousands of academic papers, keywords, and CVs, it has to essentially understand human language, but do it at lightning speed. To pull this off, the AI doesn't just skim texts, it boils them down to their purest essence using a specific 4-step pipeline. First, it collects the data from the résumés. Second, it strips out the stop words, the fluff words like the or and that don't add real meaning. Third is lemmatization, which is just a fancy way of saying it reduces words to their root form. So running and ran just become run. And fourth, TF-IDF normalization. This is a brilliant mathematical trick that highlights the most unique, important keywords for a specific researcher, filtering out the background noise. It basically creates a unique academic fingerprint for every single professor. When you plug all of that into the broader system architecture, it's pretty amazing. You send your text via the chatbot, the system taps into its data repository, and fires up the dataset generator. Then we hit the real magic, the researcher clusterer. Using 2 heavy-duty clustering algorithms called Birch and K-means, the system automatically groups together faculty members who share similar NLP fingerprints. Once it finds the cluster that best matches your text, it hands that list over to the researcher recommender. But wait, if it finds a whole group of similar professors, how does it pick the absolute best one for you? That brings us to part 4, the recommendation math. The algorithm's grading rubric is incredibly strict. 30% of a professor's score is simply their publication quantity.
Another 30% comes from their active mentorships, because obviously, a good supervisor actually needs a track record of supervising students. But the biggest chunk, 40%, is all about publication quality. In Brazil, they use Sequala's system to rank journals, so the AI heavily rewards high-tier publications. And honestly, my favorite part, the system explicitly filters out predatory journals. Meaning if a researcher is just padding their CV with low-quality, pay-to-publish junk, the AI is absolutely not going to recommend them to you.
Finally, part 5, testing the AI model.
So the math looks solid on paper, sure, but does it actually work for real human beings? To find out, the researchers ran a test with 9 actual students across 3 different academic fields. These students chatted with the bot, got their AI-generated recommendations, and then went back and manually verified those professors' Lattes CVs to see if the match was legit. The result? A massive 88.4% overall accuracy rate. The AI was stunningly good at nailing the perfect supervisor for these students' highly specific research goals. When we break those results down by discipline, it's clear this tech is super versatile. In computer science, accuracy hit 83.3%. In mathematics, it jumped up to 90.3%. And it actually performed best for students in accounting with a whopping 91.6% accuracy rate. Now, those slight variations mostly just come down to the different ways researchers in various fields write their abstracts and use keywords, but overall, it proves this AI can dynamically adapt to totally different areas of study. Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on. This explainer showed us how NLP and clustering algorithms can completely solve a massive migraine-inducing academic problem with pinpoint accuracy. But think about it. If an AI can process entire lifetimes of career data to find your perfect mentor in a matter of seconds, what other massively complex life decisions could a chatbot optimize for us next? Finding the perfect job? Buying a home? The potential of these recommendation systems is absolutely wild, and we are just scratching the surface. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on The Explainer today, and keep learning.